Hi, this is Cheryl for Bears Pampered Stampers. Today we're going to look at how to decorate folio number 4. Folios are done by Photoplay. This is a 6.5 by 6.5 album. As you remember, it's got a fold-out page and pockets and all sorts of fun features in it. But now it's time to really bring it to life. In a previous video, I showed you how to put it together step by step. And now it's time to choose that pattern paper. Because this is 6.5 by 6.5, it's going to be easiest to use a 12 by 12 pattern paper. You'll be able to get the most bang for your buck with that. There's actually a cut sheet that Melissa can show you for this one. Photoplay went through and came up with the most efficient way to use 12 by 12 pattern paper to cover this mini album. And so they illustrate for the paper collection that I use, Dog Lover, but all you have to do is substitute another paper for it and you can cut the same way. So within 5 or 6 sheets, they had their entire folio covered without much waste involved at all. Again, it's a step-by-step kind of, you look at it, it's going to show you pictured a 12 by 12 sheet of pattern paper and exactly where the cut line should be and where the pieces go that you've cut out from it. So it's a good resource. Otherwise, just grab one of those paper collections, either from Photoplay, Echo Park, Carta Bella, Graphic 45, and figure it out on your own. Maybe you use a little more paper that way, but whatever makes you happy with the result is what you're after here. Folios there's no right or wrong with them, so do what makes you happy. So here's my completed folio here. This is, again, using the paper Dog Lover. It's got all the wonderful features in it, the pockets, the fold-out pages, and everything else. This is pretty straightforward in terms of covering it. You're going to start probably with the covers. I usually do. Make sure you have a good ruler with you. Go ahead and measure. This one measures, it looks like 3 3.5, 3 5/8. Sorry, it's really hard for me to see over the camera here, by 6.5. And so when I do my pattern paper for this, I'm actually going to reduce 1/4 inch on either side. So my 6.5 becomes 6 1/4. Say this is 6.5, I'm sorry, 3.5. I'm going to reduce that to 3 1/4. That's going to be my cut size, 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. And I can cover this page. This album has a lot of flat surfaces, so super easy to cover. But just on the outside, you're going to want to do the spines, I think. I used their cut sizes for this. I think some of them were a little big. I should have trimmed that down, I think. That's just me. But again, you do what makes you feel comfortable. And then you've got this side cover. They also added this strip of paper that runs from top to bottom and kind of adds this little band where you can slide something underneath it if you'd like. Front cover, pretty straightforward. I do all of these little spines. I do cover them because I feel like they look a little naked without. If you're comfortable leaving them white, just please do that. You don't have to. Again, there's no have-tos with any of this. You can see for this first pocket page, what was used to create the pocket is actually one of the cut-apart sheets. So it's kind of fun to do that. You can add extra tags and things like that. If you have a page that doesn't have a pocket on and you want to add it, look for a cut-apart that fits. And then you can use that. Just put the adhesive on the 3 sides and your top becomes a pocket for you. This one is a pocket page. You're going to measure from top to where the pocket starts, add 3/4 to an inch to it, and you'll just stick that little extra inside the pocket. I use light adhesive when I'm doing that, so I don't have to worry about it getting stuck in a place I don't want it stuck. And again, you don't have to go to the bottom. Nobody's going to look and see and make sure that you're lined all the way to the base of that. It's just, how does it look on the outside? That's all anybody cares about. You've got a little piece for the pocket front that you need to cut. This one, again, you've got a pretty straightforward page. When you're doing pages that have these little diagonal pockets on them, you want to cut a size paper that matches the page size and just stick the excess in the pocket. Don't worry about trying to reclaim this little triangle at the bottom that you don't really have to have there. It's just not worth the effort. So stick it in there. My advice is use very light adhesive down here, just a little bit so that it holds in place, but not so much that it's grabbing every step of the way to get into that pocket and into place. When you're cutting paper to cover over the triangle pockets, you're going to do the same thing as you did to make the pockets. You're going to start with a square. So I'm going to measure from here, the point to the corner, which is 4 inches, and it is, I'll check, but I know that this was a square starting out. So I'm going to cut a 4-inch square of this pattern paper, and that will cover my pocket. There's a matching corner pocket somewhere. Obviously, I can't just rotate this paper because it's directional, but if you check the back side, it's a little more neutral, and you can use that piece. Moving on, we've got more pockets created out of the larger cut-aparts. And actually, I didn't take you all the way through the inside. Here's my other triangle pocket. Remember, this is a giant fold-out sheet. It's got 3 panels on it. You can't see them all because my camera can only show you so much at a time, unfortunately. But this paw print pattern is the back side of what you saw over here, the dogs in the grass. So it looks much better as paw prints over here. The directionality is not a problem. So we have 2 pockets covered for the price of 1. Same coverage as we talked about before on the pages and pockets, really straightforward. Again, make good use of those cut-aparts for adding pockets to your folios. It's just an easy way to do that, and very decorative too. We've got this part in the center. It's just sort of a flap over a pocket. So same thing for covering pockets. We're going to measure this size, reduce it by 1/4 inch, cover it. We're going to cut the pattern paper. I only need to bring it down to about there so it doesn't show. I don't need to go to the base of the page. You're going to have enough layers in this mini album anyway. You don't need to add more where you don't need it. So try and keep the layers out. I think you'll be happier with it. You can see I use some stickers to add to pockets. They're not fully covered on the page, so you have to go back with your powder tool, remove the sticky on the part of the sticker that's not stuck down to paper. More stickers up here, the dog here, and the dog are also stickers. So I just place them off the page, grab the powder tool, remove the excess adhesive, and I was good to go. So we're cruising through. We've got another page here that's just a solid page, so it's a real easy cover. This one has 2 pockets side by side. If you treat them separately and just cover each pocket, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to have a little leftover space here at the end, so you'll need to cut a strip of paper to cover. this one, I cut just exactly the size of the cardstock that was showing. There's nothing that I can really tuck in here because of the 2 pockets as opposed to 1. On my back cover here, I've got another pocket page. Again, it's cover the pocket piece itself, cover enough of this, extending into the pocket just to make it look good from the outside. Don't worry about it otherwise. With this one, you can see I took a lot of extra time and did the cut aparts into tags. I made little tags with other cardstock and that sort of thing. Adding stickers at the top. You can also add little strips of paper that are left over at the top. So you'll see that here. Here's our paw print paper at the top of this red one. Do what you think is good for your folio. This one I decorated a lot more than most I do. I did punch and add the ribbon to it. I'm going to tell you with the ribbon, because they're such short little pieces, to keep the book closing. You can see that this barely is going to close over that. They tend to, with these silky ribbons, just come out. So this one had a ribbon at one point in time. The ribbon is gone already. So that stuff happens. You also have to think about whether it's going to get hard use. So are children going to be using it or something like that? Maybe you need to use reinforcements around your holes just to keep those in place if you expect people to pull it by the ribbon. And if you put a ribbon on, I'm telling you, people are going to grab it. And that'll be that. So this is just a really fun album. It did come with one of the magnets to keep it closed. The magnet is here someplace. That's what I originally used as a closure. But with all the layers of paper, it has trouble matching. So I went ahead and put a Velcro dot on instead. These are the little thin Velcro fasteners that you can buy at Melissa's. They're super easy to use. They're pre-cut. They have adhesive on already. I just put one piece on one side, add the matching part to it, close it up, and everything goes into place where it belongs. So use the closure you think is best. They do, as I said, come with some magnets. You can decide whether that's going to be sufficient for what you want or whether you want to do something differently. I often add additional closures too. For this one, I would probably add another one here on this flap. Again, just as a way of keeping it closed so that if somebody's playing with the album and that sort of thing, you don't end up with this kind of a situation where your album gets misshapen and over time could rip and that sort of thing. So you do what makes sense for you, but there's lots of options there on what you can do even for closures and that sort of thing. So again, this is Photoplay's folio number 4. It's pretty straightforward folio, lots of good space for decorating, for adding photos, other memorabilia, and that sort of thing. Your paper, you want to choose something that's going to give you a number of cut aparts so that you have those to use. You want some stickers to use, but remember, it doesn't always have to come from a paper collection. There's 1.5 million other stickers on the market. There's other cut apart pages that you can get. So if you're confident mixing and matching papers, don't worry about going to the collection kits. Get something that you'll be happy with and use that. If you get this folio, ask Melissa about the cut sheet for it because it will help you decide how to do it. If you want to do a folio like this one where the papers are all mixed up and you see everything pretty much throughout, then that will guide you through without wasting a lot of paper. If you just want to work through it on your own, work through it on your own. Again, there's no right or wrong in folios. Thanks for watching. Bye.